Hey there, my gorgeous friends on the internet. Today I'm small because the new office is being set up, so I'm not gonna be full screen till next week. We're gonna create a cool effect today, a cool animation on scroll. This is kind of like a warm-up because the course is gonna be released soon and it's gonna be full on JavaScript animations. So this is just a little sneak peek of this is kind of like a low-level stuff, and then we're gonna do grandiose project. Grandiose, that's a cool word. Grandiose projects in the course, but this is what we're gonna do. Take a look. Wow, so we're gonna do scrolling, and then we have this expansion, just nice stuff, right? All right, so that's it. So let's get, oh, and before I get into it, I do want to announce that all the courses on my website, the HTML one, the JavaScript one, the React one, are all on sale for Christmas. So go and click developedbyed.com in the description and apply coupon code SantaEd, and then you get 25 off everything. So that's awesome. Okay, let's get going. So what I have here is we're gonna start off fresh. So just an empty HTML. No, it doesn't look empty, but it's empty. I just have a font attached to it, so you can go to Google Fonts and copy a font over. Our body is empty, and down here I just have a couple of scripts added to it. One is gsap-min, the other one is scroll trigger, and then just our app.js, which we link here. So if you want to get all of these three and set it up, so this is the finished, yeah, okay, we know. All you need to do is go and say gsap cdn. So go here on the first one, and all you need to do is scroll down and click on the script tag here, copy script tag. So get this one, gsap-min, and then scroll trigger right here. So script tag, copy that, and paste both of them in here. So first one is going to be gsap-min, then add scroll trigger, and then add app.js, which is our empty app.js file here. Our style.css again is empty, just adding the font family to it and removing the margins. So if you want to copy, I'm going to have everything on the GitHub, so it's all good. And then I just have an SVG, which is a volume icon, and a little video I got of Pexels, which is a guy playing the bass. And that's it. Okay, cool. So let's get going. So what we need to do first of all is in the body here, I'm just going to create a div like that, and I'm going to call it front page like that. Okay, and in here I'm going to have so this is going to be the full-on section that's going to animate the front page. And in here I'm going to have the text as well. So I'm going to create an intro text div, and in here I'm going to have a h1 with a class of, let me call this title. So we're going to say learn to play guitar like that. Okay, and the other one I'm going to create a h2 with a class of subtitle, and this one's going to be join today and find the right instructor for you. All right, just to have something on the screen. Perfect. So now we can go outside of this div intro out here, and we'll add the image of the music note. So /, and we're going to go to volume SVG. All right, that's the one we need. And let's also add a class to this. So I'm going to call it music note because it is a music note. Next up, we're going to have the video. So I'm going to say video. The source is going to be the only video that we have. Again, it's going to be on GitHub, so you can just copy paste it. And I'm going to add autoplay true to it, so it starts animating like that. And I'm also going to loop it. So just add loop to it. And let's also add a class of, actually I didn't even bother adding a class because it's the only video we have on the screen. And what else I'm going to do is add an empty div here called blend. So just .blend and hit tab, and that's going to create an empty div. So I'm going to use this to make the video darker. I'm just going to create a full-on black background on top of it, and then just bring down the opacity to make it pop a little bit more, the text and everything a little bit more. Okay, and finally outside here, so outside of this big div, I'm going to go down here and just create a second page like that. I'm going to add a h2 called second page and hit save. And that's all the HTML we need. All right, so we can open this up in live server. We're not going to have anything too interesting. So there we go. That's it. We have our video playing, our second page, and this thing right here. Cool. So let's style it up. Style it up. So what I'm going to do is just grab the front page like that. And all I'm gonna do is add a width of 100% to it, a height of 100 VH. All right, so it becomes full screen. And I'm gonna add a display. I think that's all I'm gonna add for now, actually. And then go to the front page and grab the video, and I'm gonna make it the same. So 100%, and height is gonna be 100%, so it stretches all the way out to it. Now, as you can see, we have a little bit of issue here, and that is that it doesn't stretch, it won't stretch all the way, right? And that's because we have the height here. So it's trying to maintain the aspect ratio. So that goes full screen, which is good if we had the width 100. The problem is the height is not gonna be the size of the screen. So to fix that, I guess it's easier if I just comment this out for now, and I'll just grab the text, so the intro text, and position that for you. So I'm gonna grab the intro text, like that. And all I'm gonna do is add a position absolute to this. So when you add position absolute, the actual text gets pulled out of the document. So the layout is not affecting it anymore. So I'll just add a top 50% to it and a left 50% to center it in the middle, right there. Now it's not centered again because we need to add transform translate to it. So add transform translate, and we'll do -50%, -50%. So these three settings are gonna always center everything perfectly for you. There we go. Now we have an empty space here. Not sure what that is. What are you, empty space? Okay, I have no clue. So I'll just open up Chrome super quickly to inspect this. Does this Safari even have an inspector? I don't know, but it's okay. This is how we learn. We verify things. So just hit inspect and see what this fluff is all about here. So front page, okay. Oh, okay, so we have the music note and the blend in there, right? So we need to add a position absolute to those as well. So again, when you have position absolute, it gets pulled out of context, and then the video is just gonna pop on top like there's no content there. So we can actually do the same thing here. So not only intro text, we can go over here and add a comma and just say dot music note. And I believe we can do the same. That's it. Yeah, that's it. We'll do the blend, we'll do it differently. But there we go. So now the video is on top. So as you can see, when we can scroll, the height is not correct. So if we set the width and the height correct, so 100% and 100%, it is good now. It won't stretch out. So the way you can fix that is just go here and add object fit of cover, and that's gonna kind of zoom it in and stretch it out for you. So if we take a look now, look at that. We have a nice full screen video playing. So again, what this blend is, this empty div that we have here, is literally an empty div that we're gonna position absolute. So I'm gonna get blend. Again, this is just an empty div doesn't have a height, doesn't have anything. So if I add a width and a height to it, you're gonna see it. Width of 100%, and I'm gonna add a height of 100 VH. So basically full screen again, right? So it's there, it's full screen. It's this white thing right here in front of us. So if I add the background color of black, you're gonna see it even better. So there we go, that's it, right? It pushes down the content. But if we add position absolute, then it goes on top of it. Position absolute, it gets pulled out, and then the video is right behind it. So now what we can do is just add an opacity of 0.3 or 4 to it, and that's gonna fade out the background, the video a little bit. So look at that. If you want it darker, you can increase it 0.7. 1 is gonna be full black. So I'm gonna do it halfway, opacity 0.5. So there we go. We have that. That's awesome. Now, what we can do is go here to the front page, add a color of white to it, so our text is white. That's good. Now, as you can see, it's not that white. It's kind of grayish. And why is that? It's because we have this blend on top of it. So what we can do is go over to the front page and add a Z index of 2 to it. So basically, or even more, 3. Okay, it's not working. 10. why is this not working? So z-index basically pulls out, so you can imagine like you have layers on top of each other, right? And whatever is in front, so now the blend is in front, which grays out the text. So we want to take the text and put it in front of the blend. So let's see why that's not working. Let's go here. Let's add the z-index here. Z-index 2 or 3, just something bigger. Look at that, it works now. Okay, so just add it here to the intro text and music note, and look at that, all good. I think 2 works as well. Yeah, the default is 1, so all of them get put by default to 1, z-index 1. So if you put 2, it goes in front of it. Okay, and then let's just style these up a little bit. So I'll grab the title, increase the font size a bit to 5 rem, and add a bit of padding to it on the bottom. So padding bottom 1 rem. Hit save. There we go, nice and big. And then we'll grab the subtitle and increase the font size of this to 1.5 rem. And that should look quite okay. That's quite nice. And finally, just to give some extra space, I'm gonna grab the second page, and add a height of 100 VH to it. Okay, just so we have a bit of space to scroll down. Now this icon here is gonna disappear by default, so don't worry about it right now. The music note, all right, all of these are gonna be faded out. Okay, so what we need to do now is create that circle, and it's quite easy actually. What we can do, what we can do is just go over to the thing that you want to hide. In our case, the front page, right? We want to cover everything in the front page, and we can just add a clip path to it. So clip path. All right, and we want a circle, and I'm gonna say 5%. So basically it's gonna create a small circle, and only in that clip path the content is gonna show up, and everything outside is not. So again, it's like a mask. So if we increase this to 20%, it grows and it grows and it grows, right? So we're gonna keep it small. Initial one, I like 5%. You can go smaller if you want, but I think that looks quite good. Okay, and that's it. So that's all that we need here. So now we can finally go over to app.js and add the effects to it. So it's going to be quite simple, surprisingly. All we need to do is create a timeline. So a timeline, again, enables you to kind of sequence multiple animations together. So I'm going to call this gsap.timeline. That's how you make it. So it's parentheses, and then you add curly brackets because it takes in a couple of options. Now in this case, we're working with scroll trigger, so we need to configure that in here. So scroll trigger, like that. So the first thing I want to add is, when will it trigger? When will the animation start? Well, I want it to start immediately. So I want to actually target this front page. So I'm going to say trigger, and I'm going to say dot front page. So you can select it. You can class select by adding the dot here like that. Comma, we're going to add a comma. And then where is going to be our starting position? Well, I want it at top or at 0%. You can also add that. So as soon as you start scrolling here, right? If you add center, then it's only going to start scrolling once it goes halfway through the first section. So here, right? Or you can do bottom, and then it's going to start scrolling right there. So I'm going to say top. And then the duration, so you can add end. I'm going to say 100%. So basically at the bottom of the section, as soon as we get to the second page, I want the animation to finish. Okay, and that's it. So let me just kind of show you. TL, we'll just do an example. I'm going to say from to. So from which properties to which properties to animate. So I want to animate the front page. So that's going to be the first property, comma. And then you can create a curly bracket, which takes in any property you want. So let's say I want to animate the opacity. Well, I'm going to say from opacity 1, comma, and another curly bracket to where you want to go. So from opacity 1 to opacity 0. Okay, so these three. You select, and then from what point to which point. So as soon as I start scrolling, you can see it triggers the animation. Now, one thing I can just quickly show you is I can add markers here and say true. And now you can actually see here the start position and the end position, right? So if I move the start here, I believe again I can do 50% here. Look, that's where the start begins. So as soon as I hit that start, boom, the animation starts happening. Now, as soon as I hit it, it fades out. It doesn't actually work with the scrolling yet. It just triggers the opacity from 1 to 0. So let me change back this to 0%. See, it just does it. What you can do is go here and just say scrub and set that to true. And now it basically animates based on the scroll. So once we get to the end, it finishes like that. Now we're scrolling down, so the content stays there, so we cannot really see it anymore. Now you might be like, well, I can just put 20% here so it ends faster, like that. And yeah, that's cool if you want to do that. But what I want to do is keep this 100% and then pin this content. So I'm going to say pin true. And what's that going to do is it's going to keep the section visible until the animation ends. So it's going to stick it, kind of like position fixed, right? So look, I'm scrolling and it's keeping that section pinned until we get to the end, until the animation actually finishes, and then we get to the second page. All right, so that works cool. Perfect. So that's all we need here. So we're not going to do the opacity anymore. We're going to actually animate the clip path, right? So we can say clip path, and here I'm going to go from a circle 5%, like we had it there, to a circle. So, oh, my apologies, I need to do clip path again. So let's get rid of this here. To circle, clip path. Damn it! Clip path, circle, and let's do 75%. Now, I found that 75% covers the whole screen, so you don't actually even need to go 100%. So like that. So let's scroll and look at that. Boom! And when it gets to the end, it finishes. Look at that, how cool is that? Now what I also want to do is by default, create another TL and just hide the contents. So the music note and all the other ones. So I'm going to grab the music note. Actually, let's do the text first. So let's do the music note. So I'm going to say TL from to, I'm going to grab the music note like that, comma. So what I want to do is scale this. Now I'm going to do a 0.5 to a scale of 0. So I'm going to make it super small and disappear. And I'm also going to add an opacity 0 to it. Opacity 0, like that. So as you can see, when we scroll, boom, see it goes out. Now let me actually create another TL down here from to, and just fade out the text for you so you can see everything else. So I'm going to do from to title. So I'll grab the title and it's going to be super simple. I'm just going to do opacity 1, actually from opacity 0 to opacity 1 because we want to fade this content in. So that's it. That's all I'm going to do, and just copy paste this again down here because I want to show you a couple of interesting things in GSAP. So I'm just going to change this to subtitle. Okay, so by default it fades out just so it's clear what we have. Okay, so again, this runs first, this from circle 5 to circle 75. So scroll, and as soon as that finishes, then our music note animation starts happening. So, right, we're scaling it from 0.5 to 0, and then we're doing the opacity as well. So boom. And then we're fading the content in, and then it gets unpinned. Awesome. Now the thing is, the more we add here in the TL, so the more we have in here, the shorter the animations are going to last, because we're basically only doing animation until we get to this end screen here, right? So if we scroll all the way to the end, right, it's going to try to play all the animations in a sequence. So what we can do is actually, so it basically splits it up equally, right? So we have 4 animations running. So basically the first animation is going to take up 25% of the screen, the other one 25, the other one's 25, and the other one's 25. Now what we can do is make certain animations longer than the other ones. So for example, for me, I want this circle expanding to go in for quite a bit of time, like maybe scrolling in halfway through the screen, and then have these fading in a bit shorter. So the way we can do that is add a duration. Now again, by default, all of them have duration 1 on it, which again means it splits up all the animations equally. But if you want it longer, all you need to do is just go here and add a duration and make it a bigger number, like 3. All right, so now this is going to be basically 3 times longer than these animations. So I'm going to have 3 on that, and I'm going to have duration 1 on this. So everything else is going to be duration 1, duration 1, duration 1, and duration 1. All right, so now watch. If I scroll, look, that circular animation takes up pretty much kind of like half the scroll, and then the other ones are quite short. Look, I barely need to scroll for these to come in. All right, so I hope that's clear. So if you want to make a certain one longer, just add a duration to it. And what I also want to do is play these two at the same time. So the circle expanding and the logo, I wanted to actually start as soon as I start. So basically these two to start at the same time, the circle and the music note. So the way we can do that is you can go to the end here, and on the second one, after the curly brackets, add a comma, a pair of strings, and all you need to do is say minus equals to 2 or 3. Well, 3, because our duration here is 3. So match the duration that you have up here, and then they're going to play at the same time. Okay, so minus 3 is going to match up with that. So now look, both of them start at the same time, and then we have this and this fading in. All right, so that's it. Look at that, quite cool. Again, this is kind of just like an introduction I wanted to do. We're gonna go much deeper in the course that's gonna come out in a week or so. So super excited. But yeah, that's it. Thank you so much for watching. Hope you enjoy this, and I'll see you guys very soon. Bye-bye.